Good morning, kids. Today we're checking out a brand new video from TrueGreen7 on what if Pokemon evolved backwards. Now, let me explain probably what this whole video is going to be about. You see, there was a recent this trend kind of going on in the Pokemon community to where you would take the first and last stages and swap them. So you would have to create kind of a baby final stage, but then a final first stage. And sometimes the art is amazing and good, and sometimes it's just, I don't know. But now, we're gonna check out TrueGreen7's attempt on that, so let's begin.
Hey guys, Ron here, and a few months ago there was a Twitter trend that was started by Lizard Artist Ray, where people swapped the evolution for various lines. The idea was to take the pre-evolved form and imagine it as if it was the final evolution, and take the concept of the final evolution and reduce it to a more simplified and diminutive pre-evolved Pokemon. Many people participated,
and there you go.
But you know me, I don't do art unless I can monetize it, so I decided to make a few of my own evolution swaps. First we'll analyze some of my favorite creations from this trend, and then I'll start designing my original backwards evolutions. Usually I make my own entirely new fake mon, so check those videos out if you haven't when you're done with this one. Let's study what makes this trend so fun. The archetype for this challenge was this post, and the Inteleon here is top notch. Really sets the precedent for the simplified versions of the evolutions we're gonna make.
I mean, that is
this
really
Sobble is
simplified.
unique in that it's actually simpler than the original Sobble in some ways, but clearly Lizard tried to expand on the whole sad and invisible concept, which makes a lot of sense. Love the colors too.
Yeah,
Little Round
he is
Pumpkin
very
made one of
sad.
the best in the trends with her Gardevoir swap. It's exactly what you want from a swap of this line. A cute Gardevoir.
Yeah, and to be honest, that little baby Gardevoir is so cute.
And an overgrown Ralts. I love the dancer-inspired pants Ralts has going on. I'd personally expand Gardevoir's chest horn instead of shrinking it. It's fun to make parts of the evolution no longer fit when you turn them into Prevos. Exactly like this Conkeldurr swap by Blue Gecko. I like how while the bodies make a swap, what they're holding does not. So Conkeldurr now has a harder time, while Timburr is pretty confident about his wood holding abilities. Counter swap is beautiful and cute. Best lighting in this trend. So iridescent and ethereal. They nailed it. Cinnaboop's idea to expand the concept of Mistrevis's hair and dress was clever. Same with Pokemache's Granbull and Snubbull swap. Leaning in on the fashion aesthetic for Snubbull and combining Granbull's collar and jaws was genius. I don't think I can personally beat this myself. This swap by Geodude makes Gastly so intimidating and Gengar very cute. But concept-wise, I think this is one of my favorites. For the tiny final evolution. Look at that. Archie Boy's Cube Crustle is the most precious thing in the world.
I would
won't be
have
able
that
to top
Crustle as a
but let's
plushie.
try. The first line I'm going to attempt to swap is Exploud. As opposed to the previous
Really?
two generations, Gen 3 gave us a bunch of evolutionary families where the line makes a drastic metamorphosis, and the final evolution is sometimes almost completely contrasted by its pre-evolved form. A great example would be Whismur and Exploud. We have an unassuming cutie with a soft voice that evolves into a monster with an explosive voice. Granted, Whismur's loud cry is an indicator of the development it will undergo, but the point is that there's a clear contrast between the two, so swapping them will be extremely fun. I'm going to turn Exploud into a loud crying baby and Whismur into a bashful adult, inverting the concept. For most of these, the bodies will be swapped, so I'm giving our baby Exploud the round shape of a Whismur and keeping its wide mouth. Exploud has these large hippo teeth that perfectly translate into one baby tooth. It's tough making a tiny Pokemon like this look ugly without it looking wrong, but the point is that this is like one of those creatures you'd encounter in a side-scrolling video game, almost like a yelling Goomba. Small, but not necessarily appealing. I'm turning my dude's horns into ears and closing its eyes, refining it before adding Exploud's colors. Let's move on to fully evolved Whismur. We're basically giving it a body inspired by Exploud's, but without a giant jaw, simply transplanting Whismur's face and elongating the arms. I thought that if Whismur was fully evolved, its ears would be more bunny-like. I even added an extra drooping hollow horn like the one on its tail, refining it before adding Whismur's colors. If you notice, I added these cheeks and belly spots, since I believe an evolved form wouldn't be as minimal as Whismur. I guess pretend this is a Pokemon akin to Wigglytuff and Clefable. Same archetype. It's literally baby Exploud. Exactly how the concept of an Exploud would look like if it were a pre-evolved form. I mean, it's literally the idea of the video. It's as straightforward as can be. I'm very glad I was able to translate Whismur's concept into a completely different body shape.
Yeah, you did well, man.
Ordinary
Oops.
Dressrosa.
Hold on, folks. We'll be right back. And we're back.
Next is the Corviknight family.
Ooh.
Again, I'm picking Pokemon with clear differences between their forms. We got a
Yes.
no armor Chickadee and Full Metal Raven, so we're gonna make a literal armored bird and basically a Rookidee if it was a Gen 1 Pokemon and simply evolved into a regular bird without any changes. The idea of taking a whole Corviknight and just mushing it into a ball is the most funny thing I've ever come up with. It's basically an armored Rookidee. Imagine there was a prodigy Rookidee who immediately became a knight because of its natural skill. But of course,
Ooh.
still simplifying it, so no beard, because he's still a child, and no unruly feathers on top. Still want to make it a ball-shaped after all. It's a Corviknight Rookidee fusion, let's not pretend it isn't. I'll add the
Yeah,
colors before
yeah.
realizing that it should have a cuter beak. It still looks like a Corviknight's normal head, that's why in the final version, I also gave it white eyes, since a Prevo wouldn't look that intimidating. Now we're taking Rookidee and elongating it, like literally that's it. Kinda like how Tailo
Right.
becomes a Swellow. It'll still be cute though.
Done.
I want to make sure it doesn't look too much like a Corvisquire though. For that, I decided to give it some beard like peck feathers. The entire time I was trying to mimic the concept of Rookidee's eyes, where the eyes are just the red circle parts and the white semicircle is just a pattern to make it look more intimidating. But in order to make it look more natural, I cut the eye in half, so it looks more angry. Just more scruff. Then I put colors, and here's the reveal of the final design. The concept is that it's a final evolution that gave up on being a knight. It's just a peasant with a bit of skill. Honestly, a very appealing looking bird. I think baby Corviknight is hilarious. I imagine this as if it was a tiny bird in like a Dark Souls game. Like these
I
are
honestly do love Baby Corviknight because that is, yes, make that a
the
plushie.
base level
and I
birds in a
cuddle
fantasy
that.
horror. I'm sending it to all my friends as a reaction meme. Next is Froakie and Greninja. What's
Yeah,
funny
okay.
is that starters in every generation before their final forms are revealed already get a form of evolution swapping done by fans. Every generation people try to predict the final evolution of the starters by extrapolating the existing designs. The problem is they just look like adult versions of the pre-evolved forms without any progression. Froakie was notorious for this. People hated Greninja when it was leaked because it abandoned the Frubbles, added elements not present in Frogadier, and some thought the tongue was disgusting. But what if there was
Is
a
it a
first
tongue?
stage starter that looked exactly like Greninja?
I mean, hold on. I'm gonna bring back an old debate. Is that a tongue? Some people think it's just a elongated wad of pink bubble gum because, as in the pre-evolutions, it said that that beard and hoodie thing, scarf and hoodie thing, is made out of a type of bubblegum mucus. Yes. So, is it a bubblegum mucus and that just looks pink, or is it an actual tongue? Like, could we get a Greninja to open his mouth and let us see?
Well, that's kind of the problem when I was designing it. It just looked like a chibi Greninja. I removed a lot of the elements like the bubbles on Greninja's joints, the webbed feet, some of the patterns, but could never take out its horns since they were so intrinsic to what Greninja looked like to me.
Probably could
After
make them
coloring the
smaller.
guy, I realized what must be done. And in the final design, dude does not have those horns. Now we're gonna do the opposite. That's what the video's about. What if Froakie never gained the ninja concept? I'm literally just taking a Froakie and giving it adult proportions and more frubbles. So it looks kind of uncanny, but I bet if Froakie never existed and you just saw this guy, you'd think he's cool. I guess the problem right now is that it doesn't have as many patterns as the average evolved form, especially a frog. He looks naked. So in the final design, I added more stripes. This looks very similar to a lot
That
of
actually
Froakie
looks
final
nice.
evolutions predicted back in 2013. Kinda nostalgic to me. And after removing the horns of the Greninja, it finally looks like how it would look if it was a pre-evolution, instead of taking a Greninja and shrinking it. Still a cute and cool dude, a young shinobi. Next is a classic
like
line
it.
with huge character development. Bagon, the dragon who wished it could
Really?
fly, becomes the aerial ace Salamence. What if there was already a baby dragon with wings, and what if there was a giant dinosaur like Bagon who doesn't need to fly and lands devastating headbutts? Now we don't need to imagine, because that's what I'm going to do. Baby
Okay.
Salamence is unfortunately the most chibi-fied of the Pokemon today. It just felt like most aspects of Salamence could be kept, and still fit inside the design of a baby dragon.
I mean,
The
yeah.
proportions are undoubtedly different. I mean, no neck or long tail makes a difference, but it's still too close for comfort. I don't know how I would change it without it being a change for the sake of change, but I think the fully evolved
It's really
Bagon will be
cute.
more successful. We're giving him the proportions of a Tyranitar or Baxcalibur, making his snout more geometric and limbs longer, but still cute since I don't want it to look like a real dinosaur, but rather like the pseudo-legendary final evolutions with stubby limbs, which helps balance these intimidating monsters with more goofy proportions.
Yeah, okay.
I gave it scales and more prehistoric-looking patterns, and finally elongated the headpiece, spiky and distinguished. Once it's all colored up, it honestly looks sick. Very complete, without any superficial elements for the
Yeah,
sake
it's
of
actually
making it
pretty
look complicated. Very balanced design. I love the pose too. My favorite in the video. I'm still iffy about the baby Salamence, but it's not like it looks like a final evolution.
It's like it decided to, instead of flying around, it would instead focus on just charging head first.
Anything. Just take my baby Salamence as it is. And finally, one of the most drastic evolutions in the entirety of the franchise, Solgaleo. What if Solgaleo didn't evolve from a space fart and was simply a lion cub? And what if Cosmog wasn't a nebula baby, but rather a more powerful black hole? Let's just jump right into it. We're making lion cub Solgaleo. What fun. How cute. The problem is that Solgaleo is a very complicated design, and translating it into a being with different and cuter proportions isn't the easiest, especially when I haven't mastered the anatomy of a large cat. The entire time I was trying to figure out how to keep my dude's whiskers, but it all came together once I gave it more of a lion cub snout. Solgaleo's mane and ears are kind of combined, so I have to keep a few. Now he's looking regal. The rest is simply taking Solgaleo's body and making it way less mechanical and segmented, but for now we're making a bigger Nebby. Imagine it never became a lion or bat, and just expanded into a black hole that sucked in light and matter. That's why all its elements are spiraling around it. I still want to make it cute, but obviously not a pre-evolved form. Kind of like the concept of the abyss staring back at you. Cute face, but more complicated form. I even added some of the diamonds on Solgaleo to make it look like things were being pulled into the center of its body.
Now that I like.
Honestly, Solgaleo is underratedly good looking. Very good.
Wait! I got an idea. Okay, so the way of a star is born from a nebula collapsing into itself and heating up into a star, then this version will be the end of a star's lifetime. A Solgaleo gets smaller and smaller with time going on, but it gets stronger and stronger until eventually it dies and explodes, or I guess evolves into the Cosmelon, which then breaks up and evolves into this Cosmog. Boom! There you go. Science!
A cub version of it is still an incredibly strong design. Like, I want to take credit for this while remaining humble, but this is straight up the best design in the video, and one of the few that can be an actual Pokemon here. But let's not forget about Big Boy Cosmog. What a smug face. It thinks it's better than you. Show him who's boss by leaving a like and subscribing for more Fakemon content. Possibly a part 2 if you like.
Well, folks, that's where we're going to end off today's video. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link will be in the description below, and I'll see all you folks next time when we flick on. Peace out.